My husband open carries a firearm because another resident in the park threatened to kill him. So when he was riding his bike, my husband felt that he should carry a form of protection with his Second Amendment. Well, on last Friday, there was another incident with another resident who tried to run us off the road outside of where we live. We came into our mobile home park, pulled off to the side, hoping she didn't follow us in because we didn't know she lived in the park. We didn't know anything. So we pulled off, hoping she didn't follow us in. Well, she did, and we thought, okay, she's probably just going to go straight, loop around, and leave. Well, we pull out, and she's blocking the road. So my husband's former military, and when somebody's blocking the road, those former military instincts kick in, and he got out to try to de-escalate the situation. She saw he had his gun on his hip and freaked out and called the cops based on her feelings that he never threatened her with it, never pulled it, never intimidated her with it, never did any of that. I was on the phone with the park managers trying to set up this meeting, got the meeting set up for yesterday morning at 9 a.m. And then it was time for me to go pick up our kid. I was leaving. I saw my husband on the corner of one little side streets and them aggressively almost running him over with a golf cart. And they were on the phone yelling that he had a gun. I never saw it. I have no idea. I pulled up to the situation, worried about my husband's safety because they were aggressively trying to run him over with a golf cart. And now they're refusing to renew our lease because my husband can open carry in Colorado Springs. Because they said they received several complaints based on people's feelings because they felt scared. And they said this isn't based on feelings, it's based on fact. No, they're kicking us out of a home I own. I own my modular home. I'm now being forced to sell it because of people's feelings and them not supporting the Second Amendment right. Colorado Springs is an open carry city, so he can open carry. He also has a concealed carry permit. If my husband was such a bad guy, El Paso County would not have given him a concealed permit. He would not pass background checks if he was this evil bad guy that they're making him out to be. Somebody simply sees a firearm in this community, it could be a charm that fell off a charm bracelet, and they'll freak out. They let their political beliefs, as well as their own personal beliefs, affect a situation to where now I have to sell my home that I own, because I don't own the land it's on. You can talk to corporate. If you have a complaint against the managers here, it goes to them. It doesn't go to corporate. It's going to, and right now, I've been unemployed since January because of my disability. So, and I'm trying to find work, but my credit's not the best. So it's not as simple as packing up a home and moving into a new place. And they're like, well, we're not renewing your lease. I'm like, well, you're saying it's based on fact, but you're telling me, oh, these people felt scared and intimidated. That's their feelings. So you're evicting us based on somebody else's feelings. And they're like, well, we're not going to argue with the decision's final. I was like, so I can't appeal it. There's no appeal process. They're like, no, there's no appeal process. You'll be served paperwork today. That was yesterday. I was never served paperwork yesterday. My husband, again, is a disabled veteran. They're trying to make homeless. I have a 13-year-old daughter that they're also trying to make homeless. I can't be homeless with a 13-year-old child in Colorado. There were laws that passed that if you're homeless with a child, Child Protective Services will take custody away of your kid. My daughter's 13. I cannot lose custody of her. My husband's a disabled veteran, and we already have a huge, huge population of disabled veterans that are homeless. And they say they care about veterans. They don't. They don't consider my husband a veteran because he didn't fight. He wasn't in Vietnam. He wasn't in. My husband's 40 years old. He served 10 years military police, Afghanistan, Iraq, in some of the harshest territories somebody could be in. And they hold that against him. They They treat the older population here better, and they want to evict all of the younger families and turn this back into a 55 plus community that it started out as back in the 80s and 70s. The gist of it is we're being kicked off this property because of the Second Amendment right. A lot. I've called them a lot and never got a call back. You can't email them because the email address they give you is the property manager's email. And when I said I need to speak to corporate because the property managers, there's no reasoning with them. There's no talking with them. You talk to them calmly to try to work out a situation, and they get aggressive. They will talk down to people. They're not nice. Their customer service is so poor. They have no management skills. They live on the property for free. They don't pay lot rent because they're managers. Everyone else has to pay lot rent. They don't. Not even their new office assistant has to pay lot rent because she lives on the property. And like, that's not fair to the rest of us. We sacrifice to go to work to come up with the lot rent and all the other bills, and they get to live here essentially for free. And now I'm being forced to sell my home because of some of other people's feelings. And for them to sit there and talk down to me that, oh, it's not about feelings, it's about that. No, if somebody tells me I was scared and felt intimidated, okay, that's your feelings, but it's not fact. Like, he had it on him, whether he did or not, I don't know. I wasn't there. I drove by and told him I had to go pick up our kid. I didn't see anything else. I called the cops because I was worried they were going to run my husband over with a golf cart. Like, with how aggressively they approached the situation. It's it comes down to their feelings. They don't support our veterans. Otherwise, they would be willing to work with us. And there were new laws passed in Colorado that just because another resident is annoyed with another resident or the management is annoyed with a resident, that's not grounds for eviction. It's not grounds for termination of lease or residence. You can't call corporate. And when I asked managers, I said, I need corporate's phone number. They're like, we can't give you that. If you have a problem, you need to discuss it with us. I said, I have discussed it with you. You guys did nothing. And it was when the other resident threatened to murder my husband for riding his bike. And I go, you guys did nothing. And now they said they lost that complaint my husband filed with them regarding this other resident. Now they can't find it conveniently because that plays in our favor of why he felt the need to carry to protect himself from another resident. My husband's a disabled veteran. And this is where I get emotional, so I apologize. 3 deployments, Iraq twice, Afghanistan once. He has seen things no one should have to ever witness. He protected this country in overseas deployments. He fought for the United States Constitution, and he came back not to be treated like this. He is treated like garbage. He's not respected as a veteran. And that's the problem with this community. They don't see him as a veteran because he's not a Vietnam era veteran. He wasn't even born when Vietnam occurred. So they treat him differently. And it's not fair to my husband. It's not fair to our family. They targeted my husband. I don't know why, but they look for reasons to evict young families. And we're a young family. We got 1 kiddo, and they wanted us out of this park. Why? I don't know. I want to go public because I looked at the reviews, and I'm like, I wish I had done this sooner. I wish I had looked at the Facebook reviews. I wish I had looked at the Google reviews sooner. But it comes down to the mobile home park wants to take away my husband's Second Amendment right, which was granted to him by the United States Constitution that he fought for in overseas conflicts. To keep this, we understand our freedoms don't come free because we have to defend those freedoms. Men like my husband, men like my father, my grandfather, my uncle, th they're the men, and even my aunts and cousins who, they're the men and women who fight and defend that Constitution. So for when they get home and they're treated this way, it's not okay. I chose to go public because this comes down to being kicked out of our home over somebody's feelings, over somebody misjudging my husband and them being annoyed by it, them wanting to take away my husband's basic Second Amendment right. At least to stay as long as possible until we can get things fixed in the house to be able to sell it for the full amount. A public apology to my husband written in the community newsletter. I want a public apology. I also want new management. I want the women who are in current management removed. I want corporate to be more involved with their communities and have access to corporate. If there is a complaint against the management, then I should be able to go to corporate. They should have a supervisor above them that I can go to. Also, I would like to live here for at least 3 months without having to pay lot rent because they have inflicted so much emotional harm on not just me, my husband, and subsequently our teenage daughter because she's a kid. Kids aren't dumb. They know when something's going on. They know when something's stressful. My daughter has friends in this community, and I feel corporate really needs to step in, get rid of management, get management that has customer service experience and that has gone through sensitivity training and that knows how to de escalate situations and not make them more aggressive.